Good morning, everyone. This is Mike Berger again with NC Planning, bringing you a daily council update. Today, wanted to touch on PPP loan forgiveness through the program that was offered by the SBA. We've been talking about it a good bit on our channel here. And as I mentioned, our channel, if you're tuning in on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe, as it does help out the channel. There's been a lot of questions for a while about what the loan forgiveness process is going to look like with regard to PPP loans that have been issued through business owners, local lenders that tie back to the SBA. And it's been a fluid situation. There have been adjustments, there's been amendments through Congress, through the CARES Act. And we are finally getting, I think, honed in on some guidance. I'm going to do a screen share really quickly, just in case you haven't seen our videos before. If you have seen our videos before, then you've probably seen me go to this website. I like to draw attention to the Treasury's website. I think it's one of the best sources for information out there regarding PPP loans, regarding the CARES Act and updates. And if you go to their red bar at the top of the page, there's a link that takes you to information regarding COVID-19 relief and the CARES Act. There's a lot of great PDFs in here, and they update them fairly frequently. The one that I'm looking at today is Interim Final Rule on Revisions to Loan Forgiveness, Final Rule, and SBA Loan Review Procedures, Interim Final Rule, and it's dated June 22, 2020. And so you click on that hyperlink there, and that brings up the interim rule here. There is a section, if you scroll down, that addresses changes to the loan forgiveness rule, the PPP program, and loan forgiveness. For those of you that may or may not be familiar, PPP loan is a package available to business owners. The objective was to protect workers' paychecks, to get businesses money to fund those paychecks and their specific uses for those proceeds at the end of a certain period of time. The borrower becomes eligible for forgiveness of that loan. And so this is all about, how do you apply for forgiveness? What are the steps? What does the process look like? And on page 7, there is some detail on this loan forgiveness process and what the general process is to obtain loan forgiveness. So I'm going to walk you through that today. As you can see, it is fairly dense in how it is written, like most things in Congress and whatnot. But I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and just talk with you and try to break down for you what my notes have reflected, sort of, 6 steps, right? 6 steps for the loan forgiveness process as the SBA and the Treasury have given us. So first thing that they're telling us is you want to complete as a borrower. And I would say, with all of these, your point of contact as the borrower is going to be your lender. I would advise behind the scenes, as you're working with your lender, you probably also want to be working with your legal team and your financial team, CPA and whatnot. At NC Planning, our team has been helping business owners with this application process, fielding questions and offering counsel and guidance through it. So it's something we're familiar with and we're seeing a good bit of. So again, I think have your team of advisors with you. But for step 1 in interfacing with your lender, they want you to fill out SBA Form 3058EZ. That's going to be basically your application for forgiveness, and you're going to submit that with your lender. From that point, once you have submitted Form 3058EZ with your lender, the bank, is going to have 60 days to review this in-house. So basically 2 months, right? The bank is going to get this in, and we're expecting volumes. Basically, everybody that took a PPP loan, I think you could reasonably make the inference that they're probably going to at least apply for forgiveness. There's exceptions to that rule, I'm sure, but generally speaking, expect a lot of people applying for forgiveness, and their point of contact is going to be their lender who they received the funds from. So submit the application, step 1. Step 2, there's a 60-day waiting period. The bank is going to be reviewing it internally. And then the bank is going to determine forgiveness, eligibility, amount, etc. and they're going to take their rendering, their finding, and submit it to the SBA. So that's all happening within that 60-day window. They're going to, recommend forgiveness payment or forgiveness application to the loan, and at the same time, what I've kind of noted is step 3. It's really still part of step 2, but step 3 is the lender is going to be requesting from the SBA payment on the forgiveness. So the way that this will work, as the guidance outlines, is that the SBA is essentially going to reimburse or pay the lender for the loan that was issued to the borrower, and that's how it's going to get forgiven. Once the lender is making that request, so there's the 60-day review period after you submit your application, and then the lender submits it to the SBA along with a request for reimbursement. The SBA then has a 90-day period, so 3 months now, to review that request by the bank and remit the money that is going to go to pay back the borrower loan or reimburse the bank for the borrower loan. The SBA has 90 days to review and then remit that money back to the bank. So if you kind of add this up, you're going to submit your application, then there's 60 days for the bank to review it and submit it to the SBA, and then there's an additional 90 days for the SBA to review that request from the bank and make a decision on whether or not they remit the funds back to the bank for forgiveness. Now, step 5 is falling within that 90-day window, really. If applicable, the guidance tells us EIDL, economic injury disaster loan advance amounts will be deducted in the SBA's calculation from forgivable amounts pursuant to 1110E6 of the CARES Act. So the SBA, as they're reviewing the bank's determination for forgiveness and request for reimbursement or remittance of proceeds, the SBA is going to also look and see, hey, did this borrower get any economic injury disaster loan assistance, EIDL? And they're going to ask, what were the advance amounts under EIDL and how this is construed under section 1110E6 of the CARES Act. And then is there a deduction, because you've already gotten a grant, a forgivable piece from EIDL over here, is there a deduction now that the SBA is going to make under the forgivable amounts for the PPP loans? So if you are a business owner who has received both EIDL money in the form of a grant and PPP money, the SBA is going to scrutinize and look, or at least they have the option to scrutinize and look to see if there's a deduction that should be made over on the SBA side, or over on the PPP side rather, for forgiveness. Finally, step 6 is once all of that is sorted out and the SBA has reviewed and made a determination whether or not there is forgiveness, the SBA is going to let the lender know, and then the guidance tells us the responsibility is on the part of the lender, the bank, to notify the borrower of the SBA's decision. So again, point of contact is important. You're not going, as a business owner, you're not going to be hearing back from the SBA on your forgiveness. You're going to be hearing back from your local lender, so you'll want to stay in touch with them throughout this process. But I would say give them a little bit of breathing room, be patient with the process, understand that we have a submission of an application, a 60-day period, and then another 90-day period, really for everybody to review, the bank and then the SBA, to determine eligibility for forgiveness and confirm that there will be funds remitted by the SBA to the lender to pay back the loan. And once that loan is paid back, I thought it was interesting, and I have this noted in step 6 as I've broken it down, that the lender will have the responsibility to mark the note paid in full, paid in full. So this is important a lot of times as we work with business owners in exit strategy and asset protection management and all of these things, whether someone is exiting a business and trying to get their loan obligation released, or whether they've paid their loan obligation or refinanced it out. They want to make sure that the prior lender is marking things paid in full and that they won't have to pay it twice. And so it's often a point of concern, and we always recommend that language, note paid in full. It's industry language. I would say it is a term of art, and is what you want to see as a borrower on a promissory note. That tells whoever's reviewing it that there are no more payments that are owed. And so that is a really, I think, a good piece of guidance from the SBA to the lender that, hey, once this is all said and done, it's not your responsibility, bank, to mark this note paid in full. So there you have it. That is what I've tried to break out and give some readability to, what I call, the 6 steps to loan forgiveness with the PPP. I hope this was informative. As always, if you have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below or reach out and give us a call. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll talk with you again soon.